we will touch on a subject which somehow encompasses the entire spiritual path. It is the 7 stages of the spiritual path. We will touch, let's say, 3 plus 1 today, and in the next lecture we'll touch the second or the last stages of the path. The idea is not to have now a boring speculative lecture which is just some ideas and we can maybe flap them around. Also not to have just an interesting speculative lecture, but rather to understand and to identify where we are on those stages of the spiritual path and where we want to be, and maybe also what kind of process we did on the way. So the first, let's say, stage 0 of spirituality, because it's not really a path, as you can see hopefully in the slide there, is stage 0 is a state of being socially spiritual, fakely spiritual, in which people don't really have an interest in spirituality. It just doesn't strike them, as some people are not interested in football, and it just doesn't happen. Doesn't matter who won the World Cup. So some people are just not interested in spirituality, but out of this general group of people not interested in spirituality, there are some people that are interested in the social scene. So they would go to the church to have friends, to get a job, to be a part of the community, to look nice. Everybody's going to church. Or in the New Age scene, you are socially spiritual, you go for meeting nice men or women. You go to the workshop completely uninterested in the lecture, but maybe you will wake up next to somebody new next morning. The New Age guys are more tender and more sweet. The New Age girls, they are more tolerant. I need such a tolerant partner. I need something like this. So I go without a real interest. The state of being at this level is superficial, very superficial ego, a mask. Such people, they go to spiritual events, they pretend to be interested only so that they can fit in. And it is, we will follow this example with the seed throughout these 7 plus 1 stages. So here it's a seed that's wrapped in plastic. A person who is socially spiritual can sit next to Buddha for years and nothing will happen. As a seed wrapped in plastic foil can be on the most fertile ground with the best rain, with the best sun, and never nothing will come out of it. So this fake personality and no real interest in spirituality, the universe is fair. Such people will not grow spiritually. If you want to stay a seed in a plastic bag, you can. Up to you. Your choice. Yeah? The chance of such people is that they will start to get a feel of it. They will realize, okay, if I want to get a mate, if I want to find a lover here, I will have to listen to the lecture so I have something to speak about. And then they actually listen to the lecture or to the preacher or to the imam or whoever is there. And then it will start to click for them. And gradually, they say, yeah, sure, I will do the practice. Because I want to be integrated. I want to get a job or something. And then starting to practice, starting to listen, something clicks. And then spiritual appetite appears and they can move to the next stages of the path. So even this, the universe with its compassion, even people who are not interested in spirituality directly and just reach from social reasons, can start to merge with the spiritual path or can awaken some spiritual interest in them. This is why we put it here for the first place. Further than this, and today's New Age scene, today the people that come to our, let's say we had, 3,000-4,000 people passing in our courses in the past 5 years, a good bunch. You can see them going through the door. They have the Ganesha t-shirt, and they look the most spiritual from everyone, but there is not that spark of real interest in the eyes or the spark in the heart. But very good, welcome. Come and sit, and maybe one day fire will click. You snap the rocks until some sparks will appear. Wonderful. The next stage is the spiritual tourist. If before the seed was in a plastic bag, the plastic bag being the shell of the personality, here, in the state of the spiritual tourist, the seed is in the wind. It's very sweet. He's flying around and not yet sure which ground to sprout in. You need to, that's it. If you are a seed, you cannot sprout in Africa and in Australia in the same time. You need to choose. The wind blows you, and then somehow you choose. This is where I stay. I enter the ground. I sprout. So on the spiritual path, we need to choose a spiritual school. A spiritual tourist is a person who starts to have interests. Normally it's a book, a movie, a friend, a conversation, a life crisis that leads to a book, a friend. Yeah? You meet a source of spirituality in a certain moment, you get the sniff of it, you smell the rain, you like it, you want it. You're still not 100% sure this is going to be, I don't know what, the main thing of your life, but you want it, and then starts an actually important stage of spiritual tourism, in which you go and you check the market. Yoga, Sufism, Islam, what we have today, Akashic records, Tibetan bowls, Japanese gongs, whatever. You start and you feel a buzz here and you feel a buzz there, and there's very nice people, the Fourth Way and Gurdjieff and Yogananda and Shivananda and Ramakrishna and whatever. You go around and Sadhguru and you get a flavor from here and a flavor from there. And it is an important stage. At this stage, our personality is a little bit more established. It's real. We have a real wish for spirituality, and with that real wish, we meet the world. And this stage is very important so that we find a school that we love. So the act of finding a school at this level of spiritual tourism needs to be the goal. This is the chance. Once you are a spiritual tourist, you have the risk of being stuck as a spiritual tourist for life, and the New Age scene and today's so-called spirituality is plugged. The parking lot in the spiritual tourist, there's no more parking there. It's so full. Everybody is a spiritual tourist. Everybody is jumping from one school to another. And this is one of the reasons why we bring this lecture, is to understand it's a stage, it's not forever. Eventually, you will need to find a place for the seed to grow, but it's also nothing to be underestimated. It's important. If you have a devotional core, you just know spirituality a bit, you don't even know you have a devotional core. And then you say, no, I don't want to be a tourist, I want to commit. You meet a first spiritual school, you see, no, that's an authentic spiritual master, he's realized, he does what he says, but it's a very dry school. Meditation, no talking, no friends, no parties, no singing, clear mental understanding, which doesn't really make your heart shine. A real teacher, but not for you. You need a devotional school. And then you found and you get stuck in that school, you don't grow well. Such people needed to stay tourists and to jump and to find another teacher and another teacher. They are living bhakti teachers in the world today. Until you find one, and then you say, yeah, I met 3 authentic spiritual masters already, but this one is for me. This one cries, this one prays, this one longs, this one will teach me the path of the heart. Good. And for another one who is very disciplined and not necessarily having that openness in the heart, Good, you go to the first master. Have the dry path for you. Excellent. Fits you. You have the strength. Go, fight. Wake up. Awaken consciousness. Fits your structure. Excellent. Go. So it's important that we all find our place, but spiritual tourism should not last too long. 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. 2 years is a lot. Enough. Find the best there. A great example is Paul Barton. He has this book, In Search for Secret India, something like that. If you Google it, Google will forgive and give you the book. And he is searching for a master. He already accomplished some states in meditation, in the 30s, almost a century ago, one of the first English people going to India to find a spiritual teacher. And he goes to like 10 teachers, and he sees teachers who show him paranormal powers. He sees a teacher of Hatha Yoga. He sees the great Shankaracharya, and he meets Ramana Maharishi. First he meets Maharishi, and then he meets another 10 teachers. One of them tells him, a real master there who has this capacity to see the future, and he tells him, you will go back to, I think it was Bombay, and you will get very sick, and then you will realize who is your master. He goes to Bombay, he gets very sick, and then he's desperate, and he says, I came all this way to India, I spent all my money, all my time, now I'm deadly sick, and I didn't find my master. And then a voice came from his heart and says, why you think you didn't find your master? Your master was the first one, was Maharishi. And then he realized, oh yeah. And he went to Maharishi and he attained enlightenment. He did from stage 2 of being a proper spiritual tourist. For a long time, really, I'm searching for a school, but I'm not searching for a school to have a one-night stand with a school. I'm searching to marry a school. And he went to all the schools until he could get married. Got married, did all the stages, and by the grace of Ramana Maharishi, he became an enlightened teacher. It's a very good example of that. Other spiritual tourists, the bad example, they enter spiritual tourism. I will build the spirituality that's good for me. Yeah? And then they take the discounts of all the traditions and take the whatever bonbons they like from here and bonbons they like from there. Such people, they go and they say, okay, I do sex like the Kama Sutra, I do wine like a Christian, I do money like a Jew, and my own personal jihad like a Muslim, and none of the religions limit me. So they have this, I know the truth beyond all traditions. Then they do 5 minutes of Tai Chi, 10 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of Vipassana, 10 minutes of visualizing the universe as light, and 3 minutes of I don't know what other New Age method. And it's all not challenging the ego. None of it. And such people, unfortunately, some very, very good souls that I've personally met along these 20 years, very, very good souls that have a real aspiration to a good degree, but not passing that. And then they're like, yeah, I've been practicing meditation for 20 years and it's fine. It makes me a little bit more happy, a bit more balanced. I'm maybe more flexible. I have more energy, less guilty, a nicer person. But yeah, spirituality is nice. It's great. I love it, but it has no horizon. Spiritual tourism has a very strong glass ceiling. You will never rise beyond, nothing extraordinary will ever happen. Nothing systematically extraordinary. You will have extraordinary exemplifications, but you will never reach and establish in a high spiritual level as long as you are a spiritual tourist. This whole combination of methods in a sporadic way, in an individualized way, in a personal way, doesn't work. If you take the carburetor from a Volvo, you take another part of the engine, the alternator from a BMW, you take the pump from Volkswagen and I don't know what, another part of the engine from Tesla, and you put them together, the engine will not work. It will just not work. Yeah, I don't even know what a carburetor is, but I can assure you that engine will not work. If you take some elements of Vipassana, and you take some elements of Bhakti Yoga, and some of Hatha Yoga, and some of devotional Sufism, and so forth, and you put them all together, you will feel something. Like that engine will do something, will make noise, will make smoke, will make the car shiver, but you can't drive. So, if you combine too many traditions in this sporadic way, just because you like it that way, it won't lead to much. And in the end of the day, you will not have extraordinary results. You will not have real peace of mind. You will not have tremendous devotion. You will not have states of expanded consciousness on a daily basis. You will not have systematic astral projection unless you're a prodigy. It will not be a result of your practice. So it is the marriage part. It is the commitment to the path that makes spirituality extraordinary, and the commitment to the path begins with the spiritual devotee.
Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on spirituality, Tantra and more.
And if you want to sign up for our online classes or for our retreats, you can see our website on the description below.